Hello and welcome to Infinitely Gem and Tea, where we are discussing the fears, facing your fears, and implementing lifestyle changes. And so we're going to start talking about some of our experiences and also give some tips on, how to go about implementing, incremental changes into your life, once you come into this realization of how you can resolve facing some fears that you may have created or very true and valid ones, based upon your environment, how to face these fears. So, because I am at an age where I'm 52 and I am at an age where there is a lot that has happened where I am a caregiver to parents and transitioning from, being a parent of my children because my children are now adults. I'm now a grandmother of four. So there has been a lot. I'm in that in between stage of, parenting and almost coming out of parenthood, but then, being caretakers to my parents. And so that is a huge lifestyle change after being the parent for so long and, taking care of children, making sure that they, finish school and they're off to their careers and now grandparent. And then being someone that's here for their adult parents that may be struggling with health concerns and just day to day things and even tech. I think that's the biggest thing, helping my parents navigate through some of their healthcare experiences as well as tech. Because now we live in a
Mm,
society where everything is, dealing with technology and they do need a little bit of assistance. I get phone calls when I'm not near them. I get phone calls about different things that are going on with technology, whether it's the TV, internet, their phone, banking, just all that stuff. So for me, I would say that, there was always this concern for what my life would look like because I had this expectation of, being more mobile and traveling and doing all of these things. I had actually switched careers, went into a different industry altogether, and then I was not able to find employment in that. I decided to start a business and look into other opportunities, doing digital products, writing, creating things. And so I was kind of, I think maybe around the time that COVID came around in 2020, I was unsure. I was not really, knowing what I was going to be doing and how my life was going to look. And I was very fearful about my security and in terms of financial and where I was going to, finally station myself since I didn't have any responsibilities. And then boom, COVID hit. Parents were having some health issues and I came back home to help. So there was always this concern about what my life would look like and would I be able to do all of the things that I had intended for myself once I didn't have the responsibility for anyone but myself. And I
mm,
had to change some things. I had to come to the realization that the things that I had set out to do, I had to regroup because my current status was needing to be here and available for other people. And I thought I had to put myself on the back burner, but that was totally revised. And I'm back to putting myself as a priority. And then from the overflow, from the time that I had extra, do those things for others that, needed the help. But I really wanted to focus on doing things for myself. So I no longer have the fear about my financial security after this whole uh, situation with our system of government and the healthcare system and, COVID and everything else that comes along with living in this experience. I wrote some things down. One of the things that I had to really focus on doing was being in the space of gratitude. I had to make sure that I was intentional about being grateful about where I was at the time and where I am right now. Part of that was journaling and planning some things that I needed to do, and also writing out some things that I felt were important for me to get out. Even if I didn't have anyone to express them to, I had to express it some way. And a lot of the times it was through
mhm,
journaling and it was through expressing myself and journaling all of those things that were bothering me, that were a concern. And then I had to sit and analyze, were these things valid? Were they important? Am I honoring myself enough to make sure that I am, feeling the feelings and seeing where it led me. I am constantly doing a lot of writing and planning because that's how I get to look and process things, because our minds are always going very frequently in all
Hmm.
different directions, and it's important for us to kind of put it out on paper, or even putting in a mind mapping tool, which I kind of like drew out these different areas that I had to address in my life, and then put down some things that were a concern, and then came up with solutions on how to fix them. So
So you're
it,
saying it, in order to face your fears, you've been journaling and doing positive affirmations and what's the other one? Gratitudes, like list of gratitude,
yes,
like basically
yes,
just journaling.
journaling, a
Okay,
lot of
okay,
journaling,
okay.
a lot of writing to get it
Mm,
out. And that's what worked for me. And I had a lot of questions about this experience. We live in an experience, and we came here to experience. And some of the things that I was experiencing didn't feel very well. And I had to have a different thought process and had to change my mindset on the things that were happening to me. And I had to stop comparing
hmm.
myself and facing the fact that, yeah, I'm in an unknown situation. I haven't experienced this before. I haven't been this destabilized before. And I had to learn that it is okay for me to be in this. Sometimes we have to take that pause and regroup and then plan and take action. And it's just one thing at a time, one step at a time, and give myself grace. I had to understand that some of
Mm,
the things that I was being fearful about in terms of my security, I didn't need to be fearful of, because I'm not out on the street. I'm not homeless. I have everything that I need. I have food, shelter. I have the four base. I have food, shelter, clothing, and water. And being grateful for those foundational things. And everyone has excess, and everyone, may not have as much as they believe that they have. But we had to be in this space of family and community, to work together and be
mm,
unified and pool our resources so we can come out of this on the other side. And some people don't have that. And I do. I have family that's supportive. I have family that I'm in alignment with. And I don't have to do it alone. I do have the ability to share some of these things with my family and friends and associates, and we come up with solutions. And I have reconnected with a lot of friends that don't necessarily live here, but that was a huge lifestyle thing for me. People that I had been with and was in close proximity to were no longer available. They were in other places, but I still had them as a support system, emotionally and spiritually and mentally, because I was really in
mm,
my head a lot. And so that the fears that I had, they were things that were in my own mind, in my own mindset, because of whether I was comparing myself to where I was at a certain period of time. And I said, oh, I had this and now I don't. No, I have something now. Just because I don't have what I had back then doesn't mean that it was something that I can't gain again. Or maybe it was just for that time and now I'm in a different space and I don't need as much. And I really don't. And I
mm,
thought about
mm,
that too. When I was in those spaces where I was making, close to six figures, it was this thing of, I was eating out all the time, and just going here and there, and I had all this freedom, and just collecting all of these things that I really didn't need, because every time I moved I would give it away and just replace it. And I realized that I don't need as much as I thought I did, and I have just enough.
hmm.
And I really had to change my
Yes.
mindset when it came to that. So all of these fears that I built up in my head is like, oh, I don't have this, oh, I don't have a car, oh, I don't have this TV, I don't even use half that stuff. I don't even watch TV as much as I used to. I don't even There's just a lot of things that I had accumulated over time that I realized I didn't really need. And once I was going into my writing and reading and doing my creative arts and making my body butters and reading my books and studying, I realized that a lot of the things that I was fearful of was things that I made up in my head. And I had to write it out
Mm,
and really sit back and be like, is this something that is really necessary? Do I need this now? Does that make sense?
yeah, it
Yeah,
makes total
yeah.
sense. A lot of times we overthink everything and we make everything like 10 times worse in our head when we are thinking.
Mhm.
I'm an overthinker, definitely. And a lot of times it's never as bad as you think it is. So
Mhm.
once you do decide to embrace yourself truly and kind of let go of what you think you should be doing based off what other people are perceiving you as. I feel the fear kind of, it doesn't like completely go away, but you find a new way of confronting that fear, and showing up for yourself every day is definitely a big step in overcoming your
Mhm.
fear
Mhm. Mhm.
and not allowing a lot of the noise and a lot of what other people are saying and doing in their journey affect you.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
I would say that facing that fear of like letting go of what you used to have and like embracing what you have now is kind of in itself a feat too, because I do remember like that the houses that you would have, and like they're really nice, and like the house that you have now, it's like really nice too, but it's different. It's in a different space, and you're in a different space, and I feel like you've grown so much in this area of your life that I feel
Mhm.
like you've grown more in this environment than you would have grown in the other one, because the other one you were consuming and like buying and like fulfilling everything, but now that you've agreed to let some things go, I feel like you're a lot more happier and a lot more lighter. You're not lugging the stuff around, like bringing that energy with you.
Yeah, yeah. And I was looking at some of the things that I previously had and the sacrifices that I made. I sacrificed a lot of time and energy just to have those things because I believe that's what was necessary to keep my family happy.
Mm-hmm.
In that big house that everyone had their own room and Xboxes and all of these gadgets and things, and it was like I never had time to really enjoy it
Mm,
because there was always so much time being spent on working to exchange time for money. My time was being exchanged for money so many times
mm,
because I was working for someone else to maintain these things and what I believed would be something that my family would enjoy. And and it's so interesting. I'm just thinking back on the times when we would have the simplest experience where we would have breakfast for dinner, or we would go to the park and you guys would
mm-hmm,
love the sandwiches, and your memories of those things was more than the Xbox and the different things and the games that I would bring home, or the digital camera, or the
mm,
updated phones that I used to like. I think about that and I'm like, wow, I really, once you understand that your values in the experience really outweigh the things and the material, you feel so much better and lighter because you're not caught up in the cycle of go, 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 do, and exchanging your time for money.
mm,
And you have better experiences. You have more quality experiences because,
mm.
society has led us to believe through commercials and marketing and all of that, that the more you have, the happier you are. And that's not necessarily true. That's not
And
necessarily
not to
true.
say that like we don't want money, because I mean I would love to be a millionaire,
Yeah,
but we prioritize the feeling of the opportunities that it allow us to have rather
the
than
freedoms.
material
Hmm.
things.
Right.
We like the
The
freedom that it
that
gives us.
that
So
that part.
yes,
Right. That part.
not for me.
Exactly. That is definitely
Because
more
I don't
heavily weighted
know,
for
if I
me.
ever hit the lottery, I'm out.
Yes.
I'm out.
Right, right, right. I say that all the time. I tell people all the time. It's like I would, it's not having the things that does it for me. It's the finances and the resources, having those resources, the freedom that it gives you. You have more time to live a leisurely
Mm-hmm.
life because you
Mm-hmm.
are able to not have to trade that time for the money. When you are able to
Mm-hmm.
have the resources, or the money is being created through resources that don't require you to be there, like investments and insurance and all of that. Once you understand currency, finance, and everything that's involved with that, it's like your appreciation for having the freedom to do the traveling, to go to these places, to experience other cultures,
Mm,
to not have to be worried about where your next meal is coming from. There's a freedom with that. I think the society that we have
mm,
right now keeps us in this cycle of survival. So we don't have the opportunity to really appreciate the experiences that are so simple as making a sandwich and going to the park and spending time with your family. It's just
mm.
interesting. I'm thinking
Appreciating the
about that.
small details in life.
Yeah.
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 I think, I don't know, I think addressing the fears is a lot of what you were saying earlier about basically reflecting like your gratitudes and reflecting on how much you've done for yourself and how much you've come from. And for instance, for me, facing fears is more, I see it. I wish I did journal more. I know I should. I do like tea talks in the car sometimes when I'm like having thoughts, like thoughting like real hard and I need to get it out. But for the most part, I do feel like journaling would help because when I was doing it for a brief period, I did get a lot of my thoughts out and I was able to like understand like bullet points and know, keep track of like the goals that I wanted to accomplish. But not only that, but
Right.
like there's something about writing down things that you're grateful
Mhm.
for, like gratitudes. It puts everything in perspective because, like, you'll sit there and you'll think, like, I'm so grateful for this house that I'm staying in, or like that being able to pay my car note. But like seeing it written down, you start to realize how many things that you have in your life that you can be grateful for, and you stop kind of spiraling
Mhm.
because me being at my age, I feel like a lot of people are maybe further along in a sense of societies where they feel like you have to be married and like in a career already. I do have a career, which is really nice. Is it my passion? No. Do I want to do it for the rest of my life? No, but it's something that pays the bills for now, and it's going to set me on the trajectory of where I know that I'm going to end up and I'm going to be really happy. But I was talking to a few girls the other day and they're like, yeah, I'm 27 and I'm 25 and I just feel miserable because I don't have my life figured out. I'm like, girl, we are all figuring it out. Like that fear of like
At
not
52,
being
I'm still
farther
figuring it
along in
out.
life.
Yeah, yeah, we're all fixed.
Girl,
Yeah,
there's people that's at 60.
yeah, there's some people who are still, because maybe there has been some sort of change. I'm at the age where it's quote unquote midlife. And I'm in my second season. There's all these different labels
Mm-hmm.
that they give people. There's a milestone of 20, 25, 30, 40, 50, 60. And I think because we're ever changing, we're infinite beings and we have these experiences that change us. And sometimes we have to start all over. Sometimes we have to regroup. Sometimes we have to transition. Sometimes we have to, be in this space of transforming
Pivot.
into something else, so we can, yeah, so we can pivot into something else. Like all of those words that we use to describe what's in this experience, I mean, we're all still figuring it out. I mean, as much experience as I have being an adult and experiencing being in the military and being in a career for 30 years and transitioning into something else, and having a home where I was solely responsible, to being in a home where I had, a partner, to a home where I am, being the caregiver to, adult parent. I mean, we go through these stages and we're still figuring out because it's something that we have not experienced. And experiences is what teaches us to get to the next level.
Exactly.
We're experiencing new things all the time. So when someone says that they have it all together, I'm looking at them like, if you had it all together, you wouldn't even be in this 3D experience, because your life is going to continuously be evolving into something else and something new for you to learn, for you to love, to develop, to grow into, to
There's a
grow out
different
of.
lesson, a different aspect.
Yeah.
Yep. There's always something to
Yeah.
learn and grow, and we're constantly adapting. And I think fear is a big catalyst for a lot of the transformations that I've had in my life. And I love that because I don't really necessarily like change. I don't think anyone likes change. I don't like being uncomfortable. Let me just say that. Like I'm trying to reprogram my brain to be like, oh yeah, I love change. No, it's hard. It hurts. I'm tired.
I'm a little
But
bit different when
it's
it comes
something
to
that you
that.
have to do.
Yeah, it is
Yeah.
something that you
I
have to
just
do.
I embrace it, but like you're uncomfortable for a while. Like I've been in an uncomfortable spot for about a year now because there's things that I want to do, but like the realistic brain, like the reality, because like I have delusion and then I have reality. Most of the time I live in Delulu land and it's great for me because I get to frolic and be happy and whatever. But I also have a lot of realistic friends and realistic expectations that I put on myself that I know that I can accomplish, but I think with fear it gets in the way in a sense that I don't want to be embarrassed in front of anyone, but then I also look at it and I'm looking at the people around me and I'm seeing that no one's doing what I'm doing. So why would I
Mm,
ever be embarrassed by just trying to do something? And when I do put myself out there and I try something new, I rarely feel embarrassed after the fact. Like it's a rare occurrence. And it's only when I do something like cringy. But like even when I made that video back in January when I was posting my Thailand trip, like I'm gonna be honest, it wasn't the greatest, but everyone was like super supportive, like, yeah, I found you on YouTube and I wanted to watch your video. And I'm just like,
Yeah.
so
I
it's
see
just
you.
we limit ourselves so much, but so many people want to support you, and so many people love that you put yourself out there and they're willing to support you. Just as many there's going to be haters out there that want to see you like prey on your downfall, you know? So,
Yeah.
yeah, just do it.
Yeah, just do it. And I
That's
see
my
you as
spiel.
someone, as fearless because I have seen you go through experiences and take the leap and make the changes, and you set intentions to, okay, I'm going to do this. I'm going to go to Thailand, and you worked, to get the money up to go. And it was originally the two of us supposed to be going, and then we had the life experience or the life change where your sister needed me to be close by because she was pregnant and was having the baby. And I was just so elated for you that you went out there and you were fearless and did it. Of course, you had an awareness of where you were going and what you had to be responsible for and how you had to plan things accordingly. And then you had an experience where you were at there and this wasn't the place that you were staying. You had to go somewhere else. I mean, you did it with such
Mm.
grace and style, and I'm just like so proud of you because not many people at your age, or I'm not gonna say not many people. In my experience of what I have seen around me, I haven't seen many 20-year-olds who were willing to go out of a country, personally. I see them on social media now, but I don't know them. I know you, and I know what it took for
Mm.
you to get to that place to say, okay, I'm going to go and do this, because we talked about this for such a long time. We've talked about this 3 years prior to you, actually doing it. And then there was this, hiccup, and I couldn't go, but this year would love to go, for us to go. And any other place. And I
September
set intentions.
16th. Howdy.
Okay, September 16th. Okay. That's prior to my birthday, a week before my
I
birthday.
locked
So
in my
yeah,
date.
you did good,
Hmm.
good, good. September 16th. So
I did. Yeah,
you
I bought the
know um
ticket. Yeah.
awesome. See, this is what I'm talking about. You did it. You bought the ticket, and you are planning to go there again and experience this whole new thing, away from here in the United States. And there's you know people out there who, you're always going to have people that say things um, that are against what it is that you want to do, who are going to try to discourage, and you have some who are going to support. And that's what you hold on to. You hold on to those people that support you. And if you are in a
Hmm.
space where you're having any type of ambivalence or fear about, trepidation about going and doing something, and you have those people in your ear that are discouraging you, those aren't the people that you listen to. You listen to the people who are going to have some solutions to any issues that you're having, who are going to support you, who are going to be there for you. And that's important for us to have community at this time, because there's so much more than what we see in our immediate vicinity. And that's what I love about what it is that you're doing. And that's what I love about myself. I'm an adventurer myself. I used to take you guys
Mm.
everywhere with me. And when I traveled for work, you guys were there when I could take you if it was a lengthy, project that I had to complete. So, that's another thing too. A lot of people will be looking at your experience as something that they wouldn't do. They project whatever their fears onto you by saying, "Oh, I couldn't do that." I hear that all the time. "Oh, I couldn't be dragging my children across the country. Oh, I couldn't be doing this with my kids." Or, "Oh, I wouldn't be, I would be home with my children."
People
Well,
project their fears onto
yeah.
you.
And look what happened when I was
It's
able to
not for you.
travel.
It's if it's
It's not
not
for
for you, it's not
everybody.
for you.
Right. And you should be
No. And
encouraging.
I
I
don't
think
take
we
it
should have.
personal. If you
Yeah.
they're like, weren't you scared? And how are you able to do that? And like, you're going again. Like, is your mom concerned? I'm like, I mean, I'm pretty sure there's concern, but at the end of the day, you're using your intuition. You have common sense. I wasn't born yesterday. Like, I know how to gauge a
You
situation
were
if I feel
raised by
myself in
me.
danger.
You were raised
I'm
by
just
me.
saying,
So
like,
you
I'm never gonna
I
put
wasn't
myself in a
concerned.
situation.
Right. I wasn't
Mm-hmm.
concerned. I think that when, you have not had, we talked about this previously when it comes to fear. It's something that you had not experienced before. And because it's something that you had not experienced before, there was the potential for you to be concerned, but you planned everything and you did the research, and you were in touch with me. And that was one of the things. If you're going by yourself, I want to be able to
Mm-hmm.
communicate with you, if not daily, at some point I need to know that I can hear your voice and that you're okay. And you were able to do that. And that was I wasn't concerned because it's nothing for me to sit up here and grab the money to get up and go and find you. You're my
Yeah.
child. I'm going to get up
It was chill.
and come and come find you. And you met
Yeah.
some really great people. So I think that when you want to tackle these experiences, these lifestyle changes, and you have a little bit of fear, and sometimes it comes from our own mind and sometimes it comes from other people projecting, but what you did was perfect.
Projecting.
You did the research. You planned everything out. You wrote out all of these things. And that's what we have to do. We have to sit and process, well, what is it going to be like? And I even sat here and I did research on my own, and I looked at other people who were there and experienced. And there was, expats that lived there. There was a whole community of people that looked like us that was there and was able to, share their experience, good, bad, or indifferent. And it was still their perspective. And just because someone gives their perspective doesn't mean it's going to be your lived experience. That's their lived experience. And you went there and you
have
had your own.
to understand that there's an opportunity, there's a chance, a small chance that you're not going to have the experience that everyone else has. But I feel like, especially when you're traveling to different countries, as long as you're respectful and as long as you at least try to communicate with them in their native language, like saying hello in like their basic native language, people are so more respective and receptive of you, even if you are coming from like a different country. I don't know, I never really had that fear. Like for some reason, I know I said I didn't like change that much, but when it comes to being in a foreign country, that does not scare me. What scares me is like changing in America.
It's
being around people that have known you for all your life, and you're growing into this new person and like telling them your plans and them knowing you and then them not supporting. I think that's more fearful than me going to a different country and me like moving to a different country and setting up a life there. I feel like strangers,
they treat you better than your own people and people. I think that
they support you more than your own people, like
your own family. And it's really interesting that people, and I think that you have to really be
that is exactly true. We did not cover facing fears, we only covered fears. But it's fine. Well, we're supposed to cover lifestyle. We didn't cover lifestyle. Okay, I got you. Yeah, I'm T. I'll see you later. I don't know if you're